Everybody, happy Monday. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. Now, this is probably a really good subject for Monday because often we can get those Monday morning blues. It's like, oh, the weekend's over. Now I have to go back to work. And I want to share with you how you can find that happiness, bring that happiness back into your life, into your everyday life, okay, regardless of what it is that we're doing. And let me just turn this off so it doesn't go off in the middle of it. So, you know, feeling happy, it's not a destination. It's something that we are actually meant to feel happy for the majority of our day. Okay, obviously, we can't feel happy 24/7. That is unrealistic. However, you want to at least have it more in the, over that 50% line. Okay, because it's not something you earn after ticking all the right boxes. It's not something that you're awarded for being good. Happiness is something that everyone has a right to, and it is actually a choice. Okay, how you feel in every single moment is a choice. You might get up this morning, being a Monday morning, and go, ugh, I've got to go to work, and feel really crappy. Or you can reframe that and you can choose to go, you know what, I get to go to work. I have an income. I have somebody who's willing to pay me for my time. They value what I do, and how you view what they do as well is entirely up to you. Because there are people who don't have jobs who would love to be in the position that you're in. So I think sometimes we can take what we have for granted, and that also brings our level of happiness down. Okay, we get busy being busy in life, and that whole whirlwind of doing all the time can make us feel really exhausted. Okay, so this is where it's about taking that little bit of a step back and thinking, all right, well, in this moment, because we only ever have this moment right now. Okay, and then there's going to be a new moment and a new moment. We always only ever have now. And often we can bring things from the past into our now that affects our happiness. We might be reliving something that didn't go well, or an argument, or some sort of conflict. So we bring that past unhappiness into our now, or we're projecting into the future of what could happen, what ifs, what might happen. And we're bringing that projected unhappiness into our now. Okay, so if you can really grasp that what you do now is so very important, and it's all you actually have control over. All right, you can't change what happened in the past. You can't change what may or may not happen. Well, you can actually change what may or may not happen in the future based on your attitude and your beliefs and how you feel, because we are always manifesting what is happening in the future. We're manifesting now, basically. Okay. All right. So, what I really want you guys to understand, though, is that your happiness is 100% a choice. All right. You do not need to delay it. No more of this, I'll be happy when sort of thing. Okay. Because that never comes. It's like tomorrow never comes. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. It never actually is now. So if you find yourself saying, I'll be happy when blah, blah, blah happens, when we get more ahead, when the kids are out of the house, or when whatever, you fill in the gap, okay? That will never happen because it's always being pushed out. It's like the goalpost keeps getting moved, okay? It is not a destination. Happiness is not a destination. It is a now. It is a right now. And the more we wait, the more that we delay prioritizing our own happiness, then the more we get into these ruts, the more we get ingrained into these patterns that keep us stuck and move us towards feeling more and more unhappy. Okay. Now, these are some of the signs that I want you guys to look out for. So one of them is, I'll be happy when. If you keep telling yourself it's a delayed thing, I'll be happy when I'm on holidays. Well, yeah, that's all well and good. But then what happens when you're not on holidays? Okay. It doesn't have to be conditional. either. So if you're one of those people who also says yes to everything, that's something that is in your control to change. Now, I know that's going to be a little bit of a hard one to do because we've got this ingrained need to belong, okay, to be accepted, to be part of a community, whether you want to admit it or not. It's a deeper sort of ingrained primal sort of thing. So sometimes what can happen, in order to want to fit in, to be accepted, to please people, we get into this habit. We learn it very young that if I say yes and I do things to make this person over here happy, then they will like me. Okay. So just notice, are you a people pleaser? And if you are, it's okay. It's okay. You're not alone. A lot of women especially are. However, once you recognize that that is something that you do, that's when you can start to take steps to turn that around. Okay? Because at the end of the day, as much as we like to think we are extremely important in the whole way things work, if somebody needs something from you and they say, hey, can you, I don't know, bake 50 cupcakes for the kids' little thing that they've got going on in their classroom, all right? If you say no, they're just going to go to the next person on their list and ask them, and they'll keep going until they can find someone to do it. And if need be, they'll work it out. But you saying no is not going to mess up everything. And yes, they might be a little bit annoyed, only because it means that they have to keep doing more work. It's not because they don't like you, okay? So getting into that awareness of where you are always saying yes and where it is leading you to feel exhausted, to feel overwhelmed, to feel unappreciated, because all of that then affects your happiness. We can't feel happy when we're feeling all of those things, okay? Overcommitting, saying yes makes you overcommit to pretty much everything, whether it's work or family or outside social obligations, okay? This is something that, if you take nothing away from this, really sit back and review your own life and what you do. Because until you recognize that these are the patterns, these are the behaviors that you're doing, you're not going to be able to actually change everything, okay? Another thing where we can sometimes neglect our happiness is we can just do that mindless scrolling on our phones, or we find things to distract us instead of doing things that make us feel good. Because often what happens, and this is something that I was very guilty of, I would never stop. Okay, it was like, oh, I can't stop. I can't sit down and do nothing because then I am lazy. All right. So I felt like I had to just be doing something. I had to be busy being busy. And that didn't feel good to do that. And when I would stop and even just to have a coffee, I would feel guilty. Okay. So it's recognizing that this is my pattern. This is what I do. And also seeing what that flow on effect is. Because I wasn't happy. I didn't feel good. I felt guilty. And then I would see people who would just, be able to relax and do nothing. And then I would feel jealous of that. And why can't I do that? And all of this sort of stuff. So until you're aware that these are the patterns, that these are the thoughts, these are the things that you're doing, you're not able to make any changes at all. Okay? Excuse me. All right, so it doesn't have to be a big, hard overhaul of your life sort of thing, because when we do that, that in itself can feel very overwhelming. So this is about having that awareness, recognizing, okay, well, this is what I do. And then what's one simple thing that you can do to that? Maybe instead of saying yes 10 times a day, say yes maybe 9 times a day. Okay, find that one thing where you can say no and feel okay about saying no. And this is where it's going to take a little bit of practice. It's going to take a little bit of resolve, because at the end of the day, when you feel good and you feel happy, that is the energy that you are sending out to the world. That is the energy that other people are picking up on. All right. So you get to choose, do I want to send out a happy energy or an unhappy energy? Now, we all know what it's like to be around those sad sacks. That no matter what happens, it's always, oh, woe is me. There's always something bad going on. There's always the drama. It's always depressing. Okay. We don't like to be around those people because it drains us. So don't you be one of those people either. The more you can look after yourself, uplift yourself, the more you are then going to uplift others. It is going to have that opposite positive, uplifting ripple. Okay. So that's why it's so important to look after you, to look after your own happiness, because that is what you then share. So maybe you do something very small. As I was saying before, every moment is a new moment. Every moment is a choice where you get to feel happy or not happy. Okay. And I know there's a lot of other emotions in there, but let's keep it nice and simple. You feel good or you don't feel good. So every moment you get a chance to make that choice. So whether you are having a cup of coffee, whether you're doing the dishes, appreciate, you know what? I have water. I have dishes. I must have food to make these dishes dirty. There's something that you can enjoy. Take pride in what you're doing. Maybe dance around the kitchen or take the time to go and sit outside and just enjoy nature. Maybe start by setting those small boundaries when it comes to work. If you're working hours, then work within those hours. Be strict on those boundaries. If you tend to be on social media a lot and that takes away your time and you don't feel great afterwards, then set a boundary around the amount of time that you spend on social media. Set boundaries on the amount of outside obligations that you have, whether it is social things or sports or activities or all of these sorts of things. There are ways that you can share the load, so to speak, okay? Because I know that there are some things that we've made commitments to. However, then you can meet those commitments, but then look at, okay, well, ongoingly, is this something that I want to do? And if it is, find a way to enjoy it. All right. Life is meant to be enjoyed. And doing simple gratitude, that simple little check in, what went really well for me today, or what just made me smile today. It doesn't have to be huge, it can be something really small. And the more you notice these things, the more you're going to notice. This is how your RAS works. Okay. And have that awareness around what you're thinking and make that conscious decision to reframe things. Okay, if you're finding yourself, I don't have time for me, or I don't have time for happiness, or I'm too busy being busy, or whatever it is that you're saying, you can find a way to reframe that and say, I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing. I'm going to get the most amount of joy as possible out of what I'm doing. Okay, and even just smiling while you're doing something, that changes stuff as well. All right. So keep it nice and simple. Your happiness is so important, not just for you, it's for the entire planet. And that's not an over exaggeration. There's a thing called the ionosphere. It's where they put all the satellites. It's however many, kilometers it is above the earth. It's where they put the satellites because they know that the energy goes up, it reaches that level, and it bounces back. When you are sending sadness, unhappiness, whatever you want to call it, up, that's what's bouncing back. But when you send happiness up, happiness is what's bouncing back. Okay? So it is absolutely in your interest, it's in the interest of humanity to be happy. All right? So it's not something that you wait for, it's something that you choose to do in every moment. So start small, make it grow bigger like a snowball. It will get momentum. Okay. And yeah, just see where you go with it. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from Jim Rohn. He says, happiness is not something you postpone for the future. It's something you design for the present. All right, everyone, have an amazing day. I hope you have a happy day, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.